cup of tea. How are we doing, Facebook? Hope everyone is looking good on this wonderful Monday evening where in the UK there's some good weather. So today is Science with Brendan, and I wanted to bring you this video because well, I've had a good day. I've had a really good energetic day filled with bundles of energy. I cannot see any comments or anything that's going on the screen because in order for me to do this, I have to have the camera pointing at me and not in selfie mode. And if it's in selfie mode, everything gets flipped around and then you have to read backwards, which is no fun for anybody. So I apologize if you're saying something to me and I can't see you. But hey, if you're just joining this video, give it a thumbs up. And guys, if you have any questions off the back of this video today, or you have any questions about the fast in general, pop them in the comments below, and then tomorrow night I will circle back around and answer all of those questions individually on the Facebook Live for you. So I've got my cup of tea and I've got some information on the board here. Science with Brendan. I am not a scientist, just having you know that right now. I didn't do very well in science at school, but I am very good at trying to understand things, especially when I'm extremely interested in them. And this for me has been a very interesting experiment, and fasting in general has been something that I've toyed with in my mind for a year or so when I first heard about doing a water fast or some form of fasting. Intermittent fasting is kind of the key here. So firstly, thank you to everyone who's tuning in. Thank you to the people who've been messaging and asking loads of questions. Hopefully I'll answer some of those questions with this. And then kind of realistically, now that I've got the energy and my brain's clear and I'm starting to fire on all cylinders, I wanted to run you through again why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I can learn from it, I can challenge myself, and I can grow. And I have some notes here that I'm kind of going by because I want people to get as much information out of this as possible. But realistically, I've been, seeing a lot. You see a lot about intermittent fasting, and I have tried a little bit of it in the past and not been very successful. But I know that this program, what I've done, will kickstart some intermittent fasting, and hopefully it'll be a nice way for me to see some different results with myself and hopefully with some clients as well. So most people do stuff like this or stuff like fasting to kickstart weight loss or something like that. My situation is different. I'm challenging my mindset over a 14-day period, but I'm not advising people go out there and do a 14-day fast straight away. I'd advise people to do some research, read into things and understand why, and hopefully this information will help you. But most people tend to live in this category here, which is energy in versus energy out. Energy in is always a lot higher, which is why I've got a job and why most of this fitness industry exists, is because people take an abundance of energy these days and they're not very good at getting rid of the energy that they take on board. That doesn't mean to say that people need to be smashing it in the gym 24/7. It just means that the food that they're consuming isn't getting burnt off, and so they're storing that extra energy as fat. So essentially, what people get is into this cycle of eating foods that are high starchy foods or very rich in calories, but not giving the body necessarily all the nutrients that they need. And so when we're in that situation, the body doesn't quite know what to do with it. Stores a lot of it as fat or extra energy, and then we get into a cycle where your energy in is greater than your energy out. All right, so most people will try and hit the 80% mark, go hit the gym really hard, focus a little bit on nutrition, and that works for some people some of the time, that they get results. For me, when I work with people, I think of things like a puzzle. I think of people like a puzzle. Like, which part of a person is not fitting together properly, and how can you kind of combat that? So in my mind, I think of mindset, I think of food, and I think of exercise. And one of those ingredients might be missing. One of those pieces of the puzzle might be missing. If that's the case, then which piece of the puzzle needs more attention? So I tend to work with people on all the pieces of the puzzle to try and slot everything together so that they can come back with a rounded understanding of themselves and learn, practice, grow, develop, and hopefully achieve the goals that they're looking to achieve, right? So the most important thing for anybody watching this is figure out what piece of the puzzle is missing or broken or needs fixing. And if you need help with it, ask for help or reach out for help. There's plenty of people out there that can help. But essentially, what I've done over the last few days, especially the last sort of 8 days, I've tricked my body into utilizing fuel sources in a certain way that elevates my energy levels, decreases my appetite, let's say, and starts to burn away extra energy that I've stored. So how the body works is the body will take on food and it'll look at that food and go, right, well, we're going to use the glucose from that food as energy first. And then when that glucose is depleted or finished, we're going to tap into some protein. And then when the protein can't be used anymore, we're going to start using fats. So that's why when you do a fast, you've got to be mindful of, well, am I starting to lose muscle mass and things like that? And you can test for that sort of thing. But essentially what I've done is I've gone through the glucose depletion phase. So I've depleted my body of glucose over the last 7 days. At the point at which my body went to try and process my protein and start eating my muscles for fuel, I had a meal, right? So I had a meal that was ketogenic meal. So it was high fat, high protein, and it tricked my body into going, oh, we've got some fuel that we're going to use now, so we don't have to worry about breaking that down. And then it realized that, hey, actually we can metabolize fat and start to use that as fuel. So essentially I went from there to there quickly, and then from there to there even quicker. And so today I'm feeling the full effects of pure fat burning. So yeah, that kind of sums everything up over the last few days, and that's why I've got quite a lot of energy now, because obviously I'm holding a little bit more body fat than I'd like, so I'm tapping into that extra energy. I'm not saying this is a sustainable way to live at all. I'm just saying it's a good way to get stuck into things. You know, it's a good way for me to learn. It's a good way for me to understand my relationship between carbs, fats, and proteins, and how those different macronutrients affect my body and how I can use those fuel sources effectively. But not everyone's going to sit and invest the time into it, and not everyone's going to sit and invest their sort of effort into it. Luckily, it's my job to kind of explore things and learn and travel through documents, travel the world, work my way through documents, and read things and try to understand things and then kind of spit things out. But hopefully that gives some clarification as to, you know, what's been going on with me in terms of my body's cycle. When it comes to how we eat as humans, as a human race, at the moment, we tend to eat too many of these and these, and we tend not to have a huge amount of this going on. Now, that's not to say that you can't be vegan. That's not to say that you need to eat just protein. It's not to say that you have to be on the Atkins diet. It's just understanding what carbs and fats are, how they're broken down in if you looked at a food chart of things, you know, what foods constitute carbohydrates and what levels of carbohydrates relative to the glycemic index are good for us or may cause us issues or this, that, and the other thing. But predominantly, if your body is burning and using carbs most of the time, then it won't be very good at burning the fats that you need. So it's a case of trying to flip that and say, right, well, how can we trick my body into burning the fat that I need? So you can do that by reducing calories in a diet, or you can do that by reducing the number of carbs in a diet and increasing proteins and fats. Or you can just be like me and go crazy and just throw your body into a whirlwind of 14 days of trauma and see what happens at the end of it. But effectively, it's been quite an interesting journey so far, and I hope you've been enjoying it. I hope you've been enjoying the information coming your way. And I hope this has been helpful, because Science with Brendan is always fun. But realistically, just remember, guys, I'm not saying everyone needs to do a 14-day fast to lose weight. I'm saying you can get fantastic results by regulating these things in your diet and getting great results over an extended period of time. A 14-day fast for me is just about challenging myself to my maximum. And that pretty much brings me to the end of what I was going to say. I'm going to try and wind down for the rest of the night because I'm still full of energy. So I will catch you guys in the next video. But like I said, if you're watching this live and you think it's awesome, then give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, pop them below. I'll circle back around tomorrow to answer those questions in the next segment. Have a fantastic evening wherever you are in the world. Stay strong and keep moving.